Hey, how's it going? It's been a while since I brought you guys along with me. I got a little bit of a backstory on this one. It's not that exciting. It's pretty simple, actually. I was just coming into town and I was driving along the highway. This is Truro, for anybody who hasn't figured out that I'm always in Truro. Truro is my hometown. It's where I'm from. And I was driving into town on the highway and I looked over the Bay of Fundy and noticed all the ice. I thought to myself, that might look quite interesting as the tidal bore comes in. So take a wild guess where I am today. I am at the tidal bore look-off, and I'm going to check out the tidal bore as it comes in. Hopefully I have this correct, because I came to check out the tidal bore another time and nothing happened. So, and for how often I've been here to check out the tidal bore, I think I can follow a simple timetable. It says 11:54 Atlantic Standard Time. But there are people here now. It's cold. There's more people pulling up. Makes me think that I actually have my time right. So anyway, I'm going to go out there, get the drone set up. We'll get it up, and hopefully it looks extra cool with all the ice. But we'll see. Okay, so I got the drone up, as you saw, and there's not a whole lot going on. And honestly, this is the second time that I've come here in the winter, or come along to wait for the tidal bore to come in the winter, and I think it might be one of those things that everybody else but me knows, that maybe it just doesn't make it all the way in the winter because it's pushing up against a bunch of ice. I know that I filmed the tidal bore coming in the fall, and it seems to kind of lose its energy by the time in Truro that it gets to the Timbits baseball field right at the overpass by Park Street. It seems to kind of lose all of its energy, and that's pretty much its stopping point. I could see a lot of resistance with the ice, that maybe it just doesn't make it this far up. Now that I'm kind of intrigued to see what the deal is, I'm going to come back here at lunch tomorrow, weather permitted. I'm going to go a little beyond that spot that we were able to see on the drone where the water was melted, where there was no ice. I'm assuming that it must get to that point if there's not much resistance. So, yeah, I will check back with you guys tomorrow at my lunch, and we will do this again. So, look, here's my hand. All right, so this is day 2 of this mission to see the tidal bore in the winter. I'm at another location I've been to several times through the summer. This is just out in Old Barns. That's kind of like a farming community just outside of Truro, the old highway towards Halifax, or one of them. That would be headed towards Brookfield, I guess, the old way. Pleasant Valley, I think, the back way. Anyway, if you go past the tidal bore look-off in Truro, keep heading out away from Truro in that direction for a couple kilometers, you'll see Old Road number 3. Right across from Old Road number 3, there's a little parking lot. You can park in there, and you can access the Cobequid Trail. The Cobequid Trail runs along the edge of the Bay of Fundy where it comes into Truro, and just a side note, it's an absolutely beautiful place to take a walk during sunset. I would recommend probably a warmer day than today to do that, but anyway, this is where we're at. This is well beyond the spot that I noticed from the drone that was thaw, so we'll see if the tidal bore passes here, and my theory about it pushing up against the ice is true. Let's head out. So I made it down here, my spot just off the Cobequid Trail. There's tons of big chunks of ice, little mini icebergs. I think I'm early enough. Need to get here quite a bit earlier than it's posted for the look-off spot. And I'm not sure if I see it coming or not. Maybe. It's hard to tell. I was going to fly the drone today, but it is probably not a smart thing to do. It's very windy. It's cold. I find the drone's battery depletes very quickly when it's cold and it's windy, and it's just asking to lose it. So hopefully from this vantage point, I'll get a good enough of a shot with this. Depending on what we get for results and how this looks, I might come back on a more pleasant day to get the drone up so we can all see. I'd like to show you guys, but hopefully this will be good enough, and hopefully you can hear me because I know the wind's pretty strong. So I got my wind filter on, but can see it, I think. It's just a lot less powerful looking than normal. I'm just going to try to get a little closer. It's not the most friendly looking day, but I absolutely see it. This is me running to get a good shot. I would say this would be like a black rock situation at Peggy's Cove. Ow! Don't go any closer, but you can see the tide coming in. There's just not as much going on as you would see in the summer. I'm assuming it's because there's just too much ice. I can hear a little bit more coming. Maybe it's kind of a little more spread out than it is in the summer because of the ice. I'm not really sure. But actually, it's kind of interesting. It looks like there is a little more coming our way. So let's just get down back to where I was, because I can see a whole bunch of ice flowing in. It's kind of cool. This might actually be worth it with the drone at another time. The landscape here is completely different. It's amazing looking. All the ice built up on the edges, and as the tidal bore is coming in, I have the wide angle on my camera right now. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it and hopefully hear me. You can just see a whole bunch of chunks of ice that are just being pushed in as the tidal bore comes in, and I can hear it, the water picking up. It's getting deeper and deeper. It's kind of it's almost a different experience than it is in the summer. You don't get that one massive wave that kind of goes by. It builds up and then it brings a whole bunch of ice with it. It's pretty cool though. I absolutely want to see this with the drone, so I'll do a follow-up video on this. I'll try to hopefully be lucky and get nicer weather and be able to time this with my lunch or, through the day at work. So looks like on the screen that the ice flow is really far away, but it's actually right in front of me. It's coming around the corner right now, and it's picking up quite a bit of speed. It's kind of funny that with all this momentum that it actually doesn't make it to the look-off spot, and maybe it's like different strengths, different times of the day. You can see these big ice blocks being carried away. So there's quite a bit of force here, and if that dissipates, a couple kilometers from here, that goes to show you how much it's pushing against the ice, or how much the ice is blocking the flow. Now, as you can see, there's all kinds of ice flowing by, and you can see the waves crashing up against the stationary ice that isn't being pushed by the current. It's actually really cool. I would recommend coming down to check it out. I mean, you gotta brave a little bit of wind because it's the bay. It's gonna pick up a little bit, but it's not that bad. And this looks really neat. So like I said, we will definitely follow up on a nice day with the drone, and I can't wait to do that because I think it's gonna look really cool from the drone's point of view. It'd be interesting to fly the drone up and kind of get an eye of where the flow kind of comes to a stop. Now, all that ice that I said was like stationary, it's gone now. So there's enough force behind this that it's moved those massive chunks of ice down the river further, and probably, clogging up the river, further upstream. So as I was saying before, I would say this is probably like a Black Rocks at Peggy's Cove situation. It's very hard to distinguish what on the edge of the water is ice and what's rocks. I've been down in this particular spot several times, so I know that you can get a little bit close. If I hadn't been here before, then I wouldn't even be as close as I am, because you would be in big trouble if you fell in this, I would imagine. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna head back to the car. It's cool to watch, but I'm getting kind of cold and I gotta get back to work. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Hopefully you guys were able to get a good view of it with this camera. That said, like I've repeated several times, but I'm gonna do it again because until I edit this footage, I don't know how well my mic was able to pick up me speaking down there because it was so windy. The wind just picks up and picks up as the tidal bore comes in, I find. So, given that that's the plan to bring the drone back, I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube channel so you don't miss it, because I think it'll be well worth seeing. I'm very excited to plan this out. Hopefully the weather will be permitted at the same time as the tidal bore is scheduled to come in. And just to summarize, I do recommend coming down to check out the tidal bore on a nice day. You know, stay safely on the trail. Don't walk too close to it, because you really can't distinguish between the rocks and the ice. And I would imagine, goes without saying, it'd be very dangerous if you were to fall in. But it is really cool to see. You really get the big picture of how strong the tide comes in at this point. It pushes massive chunks of ice that are at first wedged in place, that aren't moving, that are just having the water gush around them until they eventually get dislodged and they get carried away by the current. It's pretty cool to watch. I mean, there's not a whole lot to do in the winter. Why not come down and check it out? And that's just off the Cobequid Trail as you head out in Old Barns. Not all the way to the school or anything, but there is a spot that's designed to park your car and walk along the trail, and there's a bench right there, a park bench you could sit at and wait for it. Pick a nice day with nice blue sky like I'm going to, and I'm going to fly my drone. Anyway, like always, thank you for sticking along to the end of the vlog. I appreciate you guys checking out my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.